Going to kick off a little series here on calculated fields. Calculated fields in Workium can be very powerful, and there's just a few things you kind of need to understand going into them. I think the documentation on their website's getting a little bit better as things come along, and I think this will also kind of explain some of the things as we go through these that are a little bit not so much finicky, just you have to kind of understand what it's expecting from you for a calculated field, and hopefully this will save some time. So this one's going to be really simple. We have a new list here, calculated fields. It has a name, a number, and a number. We're going to go in here and let's do my number, and we will put 1 and 2. Super complicated numbers here. So we have 1 and 2, and the first example we're going to do real quickly is we are going to add sum. So we're going to make that one a number, and computed fields, if you've never seen it before, is right down here. You'd click computed field and number 1, and we'll go over this more, but just kind of note the ID that it gives you. And then it usually wants some spaces in a lot of places, so I just try and keep the habit of making sure I get a space pretty often. So now we have sum, 1 plus 2, and if we go down to our list, we've got 3. I'm just going to tag something to the end of this video. It's still kind of an adding piece, but it starts to look at with text. So when we go back into here, we've got number 1, number 2, and sum still, and we're going to edit the name. Now, if you've looked at it before, you're automatically forced into a text type for the name. You can still change the name, so it could be ID, or in this case, in fact, let's do it. Let's call it calculation for this example. Calculation, and we're going to turn this first one. Again, it has to be a text type, but we can make it a computed field. So in here we have our sum, which we just did a moment ago, and we're going to make sum is, and space that. And then you may have seen something like this, again, if you're coming from Excel or a lot of other kind of spreadsheet tools, or really, most any background in basic sort of programming or basic sort of spreadsheet work. So let's go ahead, and we've got the plus to stick these things together, and now we're going to add that sum field, put a space in there, hit done, hit save. So that is created, and again, before we were putting in my calculation or something like that. Now it's a calculated field along with this one being a calculated field. So we can do 5 and 3, and we should see that this record now says sum is 8. So if we were to move that into another one, link it somewhere, rather than showing us whatever we named it, it's automatically showing us the sum, which can be really convenient. Again, we can continue on the whole situation that the calculated fields are there, and we'll get into more calculated fields. Obviously, we just have a simple one so far.